What if I told you that the problem you've been carrying for years, the sin you think you can't leave, the pain you believe will never heal, could all begin to change in just 30 days? What if Ramadan 2026 is not just another Ramadan, but the one that rewrites your story? Stay with me, because this month has the power to turn the impossible into possible. My beloved brothers and sisters, there is something powerful about timing, not your timing, not my timing, but the timing of Allah. We plan our lives down to the smallest detail. We set goals, we create deadlines, we imagine where we should be by a certain age. Yet how often do things unfold exactly as we planned? Sometimes doors close unexpectedly, sometimes opportunities slip away, sometimes we find ourselves waiting, and waiting, and waiting, and in that waiting we begin to question, we begin to wonder why now is not the moment. But then comes Ramadan, and it does not arrive randomly, it arrives exactly when Allah has decreed it to arrive in your life. Ramadan 2026 is not just another date on the calendar, it is a divine appointment. It is a meeting scheduled by the most merciful long before you were even born. Think about that. Allah chose that you would witness this month. He chose that you would still be breathing, still have another chance, still have the opportunity to turn back to Him. That alone is a sign of hope. Perhaps the past year was heavy. Perhaps you faced losses you never expected. Perhaps you drifted further from your prayers than you ever imagined you would. And yet Allah did not close the door on you. Instead, He brings Ramadan to you, not when you feel ready, but when you need it most. Divine timing is not about comfort, it is about wisdom. Allah knows the exact moment your heart is soft enough to change. He knows the exact season in which you are most prepared to grow. He knows when your pain has humbled you just enough to raise your hands sincerely. We often say, I will change later. But what if later was never promised? Ramadan arriving now is Allah telling you that this is your moment. Not next year, not someday. Now. The month comes as a rescue rope thrown precisely when you are drowning in distraction. It comes as light precisely when your surroundings feel dark, and if you reflect deeply, you will realize that every delay, every hardship, every unanswered dua may have been aligning you perfectly for this sacred season. My dear brothers and sisters, every single one of us knows what weakness feels like. It is that private battle you fight when no one is watching. It is the habit you promised yourself you would quit. It is the prayer you struggle to maintain. It is the anger you try to control, but sometimes fail. Weakness is part of being human. We were created fragile. We get tired. We get tempted. We fall. And sometimes we fall again. But what if I told you that Ramadan was designed specifically for people who feel weak? Look at the fast itself. On a normal day, you cannot go a few hours without food or water. You feel hunger, you feel thirst, and you respond immediately. Yet in Ramadan, you endure long hours without complaint, not because you are physically stronger, but because your intention is stronger. You are not abstaining for a diet. You are not fasting to impress anyone. You are doing it for Allah alone. And suddenly, what seemed unbearable becomes manageable. What seemed impossible becomes achievable. That is not a coincidence. That is spiritual strength awakening inside you. When you lower your gaze in Ramadan, when you hold your tongue back from gossip, when you resist responding to anger with anger, you are training your soul. You are teaching yourself discipline. You are proving to your own heart that you are not a slave to your desires. For 11 months, you may feel controlled by habits, but in Ramadan, you take control. You delay what is permissible during fasting hours purely because Allah asked you to. And if you can delay what is permissible, then you can certainly abandon what is sinful. Strength is not loud. It is not about overpowering others. True strength is mastering yourself. It is choosing patience when you are irritated. It is choosing prayer when you are tired. It is choosing forgiveness when your ego demands revenge. Ramadan builds that strength quietly, day by day, fast by fast, prayer by prayer. By the end of the month, you are not the same person who began. The hunger refined you. The night prayers softened you, the Quran guided you, and in that sacred training ground, your weakness slowly transforms into resilience, your hesitation into confidence. In sujud during Ramadan, those tears mean something. That broken voice means something. That quiet plea in the last third of the night means something. Allah is not limited by what limits you. What seems impossible to you is effortless for Him. A hardened heart can soften. A broken relationship can heal. A long-standing problem can dissolve. A lifetime of sin can be forgiven in a moment of true repentance. Ramadan creates an atmosphere where dua is alive. The gates of mercy are open. The devils are restrained. The reward is multiplied. And when you combine the sacred timing of Ramadan with a heart that genuinely turns back to Allah, your supplication carries a weight and a power beyond what you can see. My dear brothers and sisters, not all chains are made of iron. Some are invisible. Some are habits you have carried for years. Some are sins you repeat in secret. Some are grudges you refuse to release. And some chains are thoughts that constantly whisper, "You will never change." These chains do not rattle loudly, but they weigh heavily on the soul. They limit your growth. They steal your peace. They make you believe that this is just who you are, and that freedom is for someone else. Ramadan arrives like a key. For 11 months, you may feel trapped in routines that weaken you. You tell yourself, this is too difficult to leave. Yet when Ramadan begins, something shifts. You wake up before dawn. You restrain your tongue. You lower your gaze. You control your anger. You step away from what distracts you. And you do it consistently. Why? Because you know Allah is watching. Because you know this month is sacred. Because deep down you know you are capable of more. The chains begin to loosen the moment you prove to yourself that you can say no. No to food. No to drink. No to impulses. If you can discipline your body in what is permissible during fasting hours, then you can discipline your soul in what is impermissible outside of them. Ramadan trains you in self-mastery. It teaches you that desires are not dictators. They are urges, and urges can be controlled. That addiction you thought owned you begins to weaken when you distance yourself for the sake of Allah. That grudge you held onto begins to feel heavy when you stand in prayer asking for forgiveness for yourself. Breaking chains is not about perfection, it is about persistence. It is about choosing Allah repeatedly, even when your nafs pulls you in the opposite direction. It is about replacing old habits with better ones, replacing music with Quran, replacing gossip with dhikr, replacing late nights of heedlessness with late nights of prayer. Every small act chips away at the rust around your heart, and perhaps the greatest chain Ramadan breaks is the chain of despair, the belief that you are too sinful, too weak, too far gone. Ramadan reminds you that as long as you are breathing, the door of mercy remains open, and the key to your freedom has always been in your hands. My beloved brothers and sisters, one of the greatest mercies of Allah is that He does not measure your deeds the way humans do. We look at size, we look at numbers, we look at what appears impressive, but Allah looks at sincerity, He looks at effort, He looks at the heart behind the action, and in Ramadan, this mercy becomes even more extraordinary. A small act in this blessed month can outweigh mountains performed outside of it. A simple deed, done quietly for His sake, can multiply beyond your imagination. Think about a single date given in charity at iftar. It may cost almost nothing. It may feel insignificant in your hand. Yet if it is given sincerely, seeking only the pleasure of Allah, it can carry immense weight on the day of judgment. A smile to your family while you are fasting and tired. A glass of water handed to someone breaking their fast. A short moment of dhikr whispered while driving. These are not grand gestures in the eyes of people, but in Ramadan, every good deed is multiplied many times over. The reward expands not because the action is large, but because the generosity of Allah is limitless. Even your intention transforms ordinary actions into acts of worship. Sleeping becomes rewardable when done to strengthen yourself for night prayer. Eating at suhoor becomes rewardable because you are following a sunnah and preparing to fast. Waking up a few minutes earlier to make istighfar before Fajr may feel small, but in those quiet moments, angels are recording something far greater than you perceive. Ramadan teaches you that you do not need dramatic change overnight. You need consistency in small goodness. The beauty of this month is that it gives hope to everyone. The wealthy can give more, but the poor are not deprived. The strong can stand long in prayer, but the tired are not excluded. If you cannot give much, give a little. If you cannot pray long, pray sincerely. If you cannot read many pages of Quran, reflect deeply on a few verses. Allah multiplies according to His mercy, not your capacity. In Ramadan, a tear shed in private, a sin resisted in secret, a quiet act done purely for Him can rise far beyond what your eyes can see. My dear brothers and sisters, the true success of Ramadan is not measured on the last night. It is measured on the first day after it ends. Anyone can feel spiritual during Ramadan. The atmosphere changes. The masjid is full. The Quran is recited everywhere. Even those who struggled throughout the year find themselves praying, fasting, giving. But the real question is not who you were during Ramadan. The real question is who you become after Eid. Ramadan is a training ground. For 30 days you disciplined your body and your soul. You proved that you could wake up early. You proved that you could control your tongue. You proved that you could step away from sins that once felt impossible to leave. You tasted what it feels like to be close to Allah. You felt the sweetness of sujood in the quiet of the night. You experienced the calm that comes from reciting Quran regularly. That version of you is real. It is not temporary. It is not artificial. It is evidence of your true potential. When Eid arrives, Shaitan returns to his whispers. Routines slowly shift back. The excitement fades. And this is where many people lose what they built. They treat Ramadan like a seasonal visitor instead of a life-changing mentor. But Ramadan did not come to decorate your life for a month. It came to transform it permanently. The habits you built were not meant to expire with the crescent moon. They were meant to continue, even if in smaller amounts. You may not pray 20 units every night after Ramadan, but can you protect your 5 daily prayers? You may not read a full juz daily, but can you commit to a few verses consistently? You may not give charity every day, but can you make it a regular practice? Consistency, even if small, is beloved to Allah. The new you after Eid is not about maintaining the same intensity. It is about maintaining the connection. Ramadan showed you who you are capable of becoming. It showed you that change is possible. It showed you that your heart can soften, your habits can improve, and your relationship with Allah can strengthen. The challenge after Eid is to guard that light carefully, to nurture it quietly, and to refuse to return to the darkness you once accepted as normal, my beloved brothers and sisters. When you reflect on everything we have spoken about, divine timing, strength rising from weakness, the power of sincere dua, breaking chains, and the weight of small deeds, you begin to see that Ramadan is not just a month. It is a gift carefully placed into your life by Allah, a gift that meets you exactly where you are, whether you arrive carrying sins, regrets, doubts, or dreams. Ramadan arrives carrying mercy. This month proves something powerful. You are not stuck. You are not defined by your lowest moments. You are not imprisoned by your past. If you were able to fast when it was difficult, pray when you were tired, give when you had little, and raise your hands when you felt broken, then you have already witnessed the impossible becoming possible. And that was not your strength alone. That was Allah guiding you, supporting you, inviting you closer. Ramadan 2026 is your opportunity to respond to that invitation with sincerity, to walk into the month with hope instead of fear, to believe that forgiveness is real, to believe that change is within reach, to believe that your dua is heard. When you combine effort with tawakkul, when you pair action with reliance, when you bring a willing heart to the doorstep of divine mercy, transformation is not a fantasy, it is a promise. Do not underestimate what Allah can do in 30 days. Do not belittle a tear shed in the night. Do not dismiss a habit you are trying to build. Every step toward Him is met with greater mercy from Him. And perhaps when this Ramadan ends, you will look back and realize that the problem you once thought would never change began to shift, that the weakness you once accepted began to fade, that the distance you once felt began to close. May this be the Ramadan that rewrites your story, softens your heart, strengthens your resolve, and brings